Good morning and a very warm welcome to everyone who has joined us today for our insightful webinar as we'll discuss what you need to know about the state of skills in 2021. Currently, upskilling your workforce is a matter of survival. Those who act fast have a game-changing opportunity to get ahead of the competition. Massive workforce shifts in 2020 have forced countless organizations to rethink how work gets done. A key piece of that is supporting workers in keeping their skills current and building new ones. Degreed published the State of Skills report to help identify where skills are most at risk of becoming obsolete. Among the 5,000 plus workers, team managers, and business leaders we surveyed, demand is strongest for technological skills. However, they're also looking to develop the social and cognitive skills. And in today's webinar, I have a special guest who will highlight some pointers such as how the supply and demand for skills are shifting, what you can do to help support the upskilling of your people, what skills are more at risk. So please join me in welcoming Kriti Chaparwal, Global Business Solutions Architect degree. Welcome, Kriti.
Hi, Abid. How are you?
Hi, good morning. Welcome to the show, and it's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. Likewise.
Thank you so much. So Kriti is a learning evangelist with passion for emerging technologies that empower growth and can unlock access to opportunities for people. As a global business solutions architect, she advises clients and prospects on technology-driven solutions that activate and accelerate a culture of learning powered by Degree. So prior to Degree, she developed her knowledge and expertise in this domain by putting her skills to work at consulting and SaaS organizations with a focus on learning and digital transformation. In addition to coaching and advising clients, she is committed to supporting and empowering communities and individuals in areas of career and professional development through coaching. She also believes in the power of diverse teams and is an active ally in fostering an inclusive and equitable culture at Degree. And I'm happy to share that she was also recognized as one of the 100 most fabulous coaching leaders by the World HRD Congress in 2020 for her contributions to coaching. Welcome once again to the show, Kirti. And before I hand over the frame to Kriti, I request all of you, all our attendees, to share your questions in the Q&A tab, and Kriti will address all your questions. And on that note, over to you, Kriti. The frame is all yours.
Okay, I hope you all can see my screen, and welcome to the session. I'm really excited to be here to get this dialogue started around skills and understand the effect of everything that's happening in this world on the skills of our people. Now, as we're emerging from the pandemic, what we're realizing is that this need to address talent development and talent plans for our organization, it's even more urgent now. Our business models are getting disrupted because of pandemic, because of all of these events. And we are now left with questions like, how do we make hybrid teams function better? What are the skills of the future? How do we retain talent? How will the workforce of the future even broadly look like? And on top of all of this, the pandemic is just adding pressure on us to address all of these long-term talent trends that have been building over the last decade. So trends such as managing in-demand scarce skills and responding rapidly to changing situations, to changing conditions. Now, as we're all adapting, we're co-creating this future of work. What we're realizing is that the skills that we have today are becoming endangered. And we need newer skills to be able to deliver on our changing business priorities. Now, to help businesses and leaders navigate this conundrum, Degree created this 2021 State of Skills report, where we surveyed more than 5,200 workers across the world to understand how these events are affecting the skills of our workforce and to assess their readiness to adapt. Now, I've divided this session into a few sections, and I would love for this to be interactive and engaging for everyone. I've already built in some check-in questions and polls, and I would love to hear what you are observing in your regions, in your roles, in your organizations, how well is this research really resonating with you in your region? And I'm also very keen to hear if you're doing anything well, if you have any tactical advice that you can share with all of us here. We're all a community of experts and learners, and I would love to hear if there are some subject matter experts over here who have any tactical advice for all of us to learn from. All right, let's get started. So let's kick off the session with a question. And the question is, what are the most in-demand skills that you are observing currently in your roles, in your regions? And I'm going to open up my chat tab and see if something comes up. So I'm not seeing anything come up, but if in case you think of any of these skills that are becoming in demand, that you think are actually in demand, would love to hear what you're observing, and we can then see how this is resonating with some of our findings. All right. Now, all of these in-demand skills, these are actually continuously changing. If you think about in-demand skills, skills that were in demand 10 years ago, and today they are drastically different. So clearly these skills are changing day in and day out, and every day is looking so different for all of us. And successful organizations are able to capitalize on this change. They're able to look at this change not as a problem, but as an opportunity. And one such organization that is doing this very well is Swiggy. Now, Swiggy is one of our customers, and I'm sure everyone in this forum knows of Swiggy. I think we've all been customers of Swiggy at some point in time here. And Swiggy is now, so before the pandemic, when Swiggy actually was entering into the pandemic, their major business was really around renting kitchen spaces and food delivery, right? So if you think about some of the critical skills that they needed within the business were around real estate sales negotiations, real estate contract negotiations, delivery, logistics. Now, once the pandemic came, everything was shut down. Swiggy was forced to pivot, right? They needed to reinvent their business model, and they needed to start thinking about what's next. Due to the pandemic, Swiggy also had to lay off more than 1,000 people. And their CEO had a vision that they needed the right skills in order to actually emerge stronger from the pandemic, for which they started upskilling their people in skills like artificial intelligence, data science, so everything around location intelligence. Now, these are skills that are extremely different from what they entered into the pandemic. But as a result of all of this effort that they put into upskilling their people, they are now releasing Swiggy Bazaar, right? They're foraying this market of social commerce. They're revolutionizing community buying in India. And they're only able to do this because they knew that they needed the right people, they needed the right skills in order to pivot, in order to transform, in order to reinvent their business model and come out stronger once the pandemic is over. But this is not the story everywhere. We all knew that COVID had like a massive economic impact. Massive is small, right? So when organizations were entering into the pandemic, one of the things that happened is they reduced their skilling initiatives. They reduced their learning initiatives. They rolled back their learning budgets. And as a result, employees around the world started feeling like they did not have enough upskilling and reskilling opportunities within their company. And at the same time, we all went to working remotely. We needed skills around remote work, around virtual communications, around managing work-life balance. We really had to learn all of this and instantly, right? We do not have enough time to adjust to all of this. So clearly the pandemic did accelerate this need for new skills. And at the same time, employees were feeling that they did not have enough upskilling and reskilling opportunities. And we all agree that the pandemic did accelerate this need for new skills. But what's coming out from our report over here is that emerging economies like ourselves, right? Like India, like Mexico, like Brazil, we are the economies, we're the people who felt this pressure to develop new skills even more than the others have felt around the world. And as a result of this, we've seen so many large enterprises, organizations around the world announce millions and in some cases billions of dollars in upskilling their people, future-proofing their employees for the new nature of work. So for instance, we heard JP Morgan Chase add another $250 million to their existing $350 million of budget for upskilling their people. Amazon is investing $700 million in upskilling their people, and PwC is investing $3 billion It's crazy, right? Over the next 3 to 4 years, the mantra of their program is called New World, New Skills. So all of these organizations are now upskilling, reskilling, investing millions and billions in ensuring that their employees have the tools to deal with this new nature of work. And the pandemic has really like it has made it a mandate almost for companies of all sizes to do that, to invent in upskilling and reskilling. And as we're seeing this focus increase across the world, we are also seeing that this focus is becoming more predominant across all of the levels within an organization also. So it's not just the CEO, the CHRO that's thinking of skills. It's not just the talent head that is thinking about skills. It's everyone thinking about skills. It's you and me right now thinking about skills, wondering if we have the skills needed to be relevant in the new realities of our business, right? Managers are thinking about skills, wanting to ensure that they have the right talent within their team to get the job done. It's talent heads thinking about skills right now to ensure that they identify what skills they don't have, what are the skill gaps, so that they can de-risk the business. And it's CEOs thinking about skills, really ensuring that they have the skills, they have the people to deliver on their business plans that they're committing. And a lack of skills, not having the right skills, right? This is both a business as well as a personal risk right now. And this business risk is the most apparent in the world of cryptocurrency right now. Now we are seeing new cryptocurrency firms getting born day in and day out. Every day there's a new company that is coming into existence. And then we are seeing major businesses across the world, major financial institutions across the world getting interested in cryptocurrency, getting interested in blockchains. They're standing up new verticals in order to ensure that they are capitalizing on the new trend. They're capitalizing on what's coming in, what's going to revolutionize the world. And while they're doing all of this, what's happening is that they need to hire qualified workers that are able to deliver on what they're planning. They need to ensure that they have the right people within the team. And that's why right now, this industry is going through this war of talent, right? Everyone wants to hire the right qualified candidate. All of these organizations need these people. And the shortage of skills is so bad within this industry currently that organizations are right now reducing their requirement, reducing job expectations, reducing experience expectations, criteria for hiring these people within their teams, right? They are understanding that having the right skills, having these people, it's critical. It's critical for them to right now make a mark in this evolving and competitive industry. So clearly a business risk if they don't have the people. But a lack of skills is also a personal risk. So when we asked people what they thought would be the time horizon around which they felt that their skills would become obsolete, people around the world felt that somewhere between 3 to 5 years, they would lose confidence in their skills. They would lose confidence in having the core skills needed to do their jobs well. Now, not having the jobs, not having the skills to do their jobs, it's pretty stressful, right? It is really stressful if you don't know how to do your job well. And what happens is that when you don't have the skills to do your job, you're actually all the time anxious, you're stressed, and you're insecure. From our report itself, what we found out was that more than half the workers felt that not having the skills to do their jobs made their jobs feel even more stressful. It impacted their mental health. Clearly, not having the skills to do your job would make you feel a little bit bad, would make you feel a little bit stressed and depressed. And that's coming out, right? People across the world are saying that they are worried about skills. It's impacting the psychological safety of our teams. It's impacting the well-beings of our teams. And what's even interesting is that 4 out of 10 people felt that they did not have the confidence that their employer would rather lay them off than reskill them, right? So people are extremely anxious right now about ensuring that they are staying relevant in the face of new realities. And while this is a big personal risk, this is also a huge cost to the business. Because when people say that they don't have confidence in their skills to do their jobs well, they take longer to perform their tasks, which means productivity is an issue. When people don't have the confidence in their skills to do their jobs well, people felt that the quality of their outputs is getting affected, which means customer experience may be impacted. And lastly, and most importantly, people also said that they would less likely stick around these companies that are not investing in them, that are not investing in their upskilling and in their reskilling. And it's not a surprise, right? We're seeing how employees across the world are quitting their jobs right now as we're entering this era of the Great Resignation that we're all talking about. It's on top of our mind. So much so that Microsoft did a research, which was called the 2021 Work Trend Index, in which Microsoft found out that 41% workers across the world are thinking of quitting their jobs, right? And organizations are responding with increasing pay hikes, with job perks. While these are important, what's also important is that employees feel valued. Employees feel connected to their work, and employees feel like the company is investing in them, ensuring that they have the right opportunities to grow within their career. So again, all of this research, what's happening right now, is clearly validating what we found out at the start of the year. And here I'm going to take a pause, and I have a poll question for you all. To what extent is your organization right now linking your business plans to your talent plans? Closely, somewhat, not linked at all, I don't know. All right, let's see what the results are, if that's okay. Okay, so 38% of you feel like your business plans and talent plans are closely linked. That's great, right? This is the first point that needs to be gotten right. 40% said somewhat linked, amazing. And 18% said not linked at all. Well, for not linked at all, I think, yes, definitely stay around. You will find some great insights at the end of this presentation, I'm sure. And for people who've said closely linked, if you have any tactical advice that we can all benefit from over here, please do share in chat. Very, very keen to hear what you're doing well, what's going so well. Sorry, sometimes the screen breaks. All right, now that we know, now that we all understand that we're kind of linking somewhat or closely our business plans with our talent plans. So we understand that skills are critical. Skills are critical to transformation. Skills are critical to workforce well-being. Skills are critical to retention. That's on top of our mind right now. So having known this, do we know the skills that we need for the future? Let's talk about IBM. IBM is a name that, again, all of us are well aware of. It's a large organization. It has gone through some major transformation in the last decade. Now, IBM went from being a software and services organization to now being an artificial intelligence, being a blockchains-driven, solutions-driven organization. And this was motivated because IBM had declining revenues in the past 10 years, and they needed to turn that around, to turn that situation around. And in that process, in transforming their business and pivoting from software and services to AI and blockchain, IBM had to lay off more than 100,000 employees across its business. And at that time, IBM had no insights into the skills of their people. And most of the factors, most of the decisions that led to laying off these people, these 100,000 people across its workforce, exposed IBM to a massive age discrimination lawsuit. Now, in an effort to change all of that, and in an effort to become a more diverse and inclusive organization, IBM started to inventory the skills of its 350,000 employees. And today, they have this valuable data on the skills of their people that is enabling them to match their workforce capabilities with their business requirements, with their business priorities. So really enabling them to take smarter and more informed decision around what skills to build, what skills to buy, and what skills to borrow. So clearly, IBM started to answer the question of what skills do we need with the answer to the question of what skills do we have, right? And this is a question that CEOs, business leaders across the world are asking right now. According to a 2019 PwC Global CEO Survey, where PwC surveys CEOs across the world on what keeps them up at night, CEOs across the world said that one of their top 3 concerns is key availability of skills within their business. Now, what's stopping us from relieving our business leaders, our CEOs, from this concern, right? What's holding us back from letting them know that we have the right skills to maybe launch a new product, maybe expand to a new market, maybe internationally expand our business? It's the fact that we ourselves don't have visibility into the skills of our people. According to Gartner's research on how the lack of skills threatens digital transformation, Gartner found out that more than half the HR leaders across the world said that not having visibility into the skills of their people was a major impediment for any workforce transformation initiatives. Now, Having said that, we all understand the importance of skills now, right? Today, we're seeing talent leaders, we're seeing leaders across the world right now assess technological solutions so that they're able to monitor and identify the skills of their people. So we're seeing that interest, right? That increase in interest for this right technology. But do we have a technology that can help us capture this valuable data on the skills of our people? And more importantly, right, do we have the right technology that will enable us to capture the most recent data on the skills of our people? Because from our research, we found out that only 34% people said that their most up-to-date skills data exists within their HR systems. And it's not a surprise, right? Data on people's skills is spread across the board. This data is right now existing across systems, across websites, documents, online networking profiles, and in some cases, nowhere at all. It's because organizations don't own skills. People own skills. And their skills are changing rapidly, dynamically, all the time. It's stored across locations, across so many geographies as well. And while we are looking for the right technological solution, while we have the right technological solutions as well, we need to start asking ourselves questions like, we have the right technology, but are our people going ahead and updating their skills data within these systems? We have these processes that ensures that we can get updated skills data, but are our people actually going through these processes, these reviews, these assessments, so that the data on their skills can be updated so that they can get feedback around their skills, around their performance? And while we have job descriptions where we can infer this data, are our employees going above and beyond their responsibilities, completing tasks outside of the job descriptions? And lastly, can we even trust the data on these online networking profiles, on LinkedIn profiles of people? So while technology can do wonders on eliminating people's skills, we need to start thinking about filling conventional gaps in our HR processes and start thinking about building an employee experience that enables us to capture this valuable data throughout the life cycle of the employees, right from the time they onboard. And we need to ensure that we give employees a reason to update this data on their skills, ensure that they know how this skills data can benefit them from a societal, from a social, from a developmental point of view. And I'm keen to hear from you now. I have another poll. How much of your existing workforce skills are tracked by your existing HR processes and systems? About 100%, 75 and above, half or more, or 25%. All right, let's see how we're doing on the results. Okay, so we do have a lot of people who have more than 75% of their data being tracked in HR processes and systems. What's really going to be interesting to see over here is that how are you ensuring that this data is getting updated regularly, right? I'm very keen to hear if you can share some of those insights and tactical advice in the chat. It would be great. And I'm seeing that a lot of people over here, I think almost 51% people are below half, right? Below 49% right now with respect to having this data captured in their existing systems according to their existing processes. That's great. Thank you all for sharing. All right, now let's come back to the question, right? What are the skills that we think that we need? Now, our survey highlights the top skills that people across the world right now are thinking in the order of priority of developing. And a breakdown of this is available on an industry-wise basis as well in the detailed report. But what's coming across is that people across the world are thinking about similar skills, right? So really skills around data analysis, creativity, leadership. So all of these skills typically being technological, social, and cognitive skills, right? And what's coming out for our region specifically for India is that only the top 2 out of the top 7 skills that people are thinking of building are technological skills, which is great, to be really honest. I feel like that's so amazing that people around the world are thinking of developing human skills, because inherently the shelf lives of human skills, it's longer, it's larger than technological skills shelf lives. And human skills stay with you, right? They stay with you No matter where you are, no matter what role you are in, where you go, they stay with you, while technological skills do get outdated quickly. But this is also another insight that we can take to review our upskilling strategies. Because as we are doubling down on our technological upskilling initiatives, we need to reflect back right now. Are we giving our employees all of these developmental opportunities around helping them develop their social and cognitive skills as well, which they want to learn? Really helping them develop as holistic individuals and taking into account all of these different skills that they think that they need to build to do their jobs well. And I'm going to take a pause over here and see if anything over here is resonating with you, or do you not agree with something? Do you see any surprises over here? Again, very keen to see your comments in chat and handle some of those during Q&A. All right, and the last bit, how to get better at connecting skills with business opportunities. Now, why? Why should organizations connect skills with business opportunities? Now, according to a McKinsey article that came out last month, which was called The Key Role of Dynamic Talent Allocation in Shaping the Future of Work, McKinsey highlighted how reskilling is definitely a response that organizations across the world are taking to handle this problem of the scarcity of skills. But organizations also need to get better at utilizing their existing skills and capabilities. And forward-looking organizations are increasingly adopting this flow-to-work operating models, where they have these pools of talent resources available for deployment quickly and on demand, flexibly. And these pools of resources are created not on the basis of the similarity of job functions, but on the basis of similarity of skills, giving these organizations access to talent whenever they need them according to their business demands. And organizations that are able to dynamically allocate talent flexibly on demand are the organizations that are better placed to respond to external changing situations. These are the organizations that have a better result per dollar spent. And these are the organizations that have twice the likelihood of a stronger performance in the face of change. They do better than their competitors. So clearly, this is something that we all need to start thinking about, because we all want to be more successful, right? We all want to do better than our competitors. And one of the organizations that has done this very well is our client, Verizon. Now, Verizon is one of those rare companies that did not lay off any of its 135,000 employees during the pandemic. I have rarely come across such examples, right? And Verizon rather retrained 20,000 of their employees to redeploy them to areas of businesses that needed more attention. Now, Verizon was only able to do this because definitely they had an agile system in place, but also because they had a business strategy that focused on anticipating what's next and constantly upskilling and reskilling their employees to deploy them to new areas of business opportunities, to new areas of demands. And this approach is backed by Gartner, right? So Gartner says that learning teams that take a reactive approach to business requirements, learning teams that are taking reactive approach to skill strategy, about half the time and investment in developing those skills is wasted. Learning teams that are taking a predictive approach to skill strategy, and we are so bad at predicting the future, right? These learning teams are even less efficient. So the better way really to be prepared for the future is for learning teams to take a reactive approach, to take a anticipative approach, to really match learning with opportunities dynamically in real time. And if you think about it, that's only possible when you have better insights into the skills that you have and to the skills that you need. And those insights will truly enable you to manage the supply of skills with the demand of skills within the business, enabling you to respond to change faster, better, and quicker. And how can you do this, right? All right, this is all great. We know that this needs to be done. How do you really do this? We believe that organizations to do this really need to move away from the top-down culture of learning, from the command and control style of thinking, and L&D teams need to shift their focus away from providing content to facilitating learning, to facilitating continuous growth in employees. And to really do that, organizations need to think about creating this positive employee experience and create a culture that is focused on the learner. Because when you create this positive employee experience, when you have this focus on the learner, you have employees that are actually learning, that are committed, that are not leaving, right? We have retention within the business, we have purpose within the organization. And the 4 elements that we think are foundational to this are: first, guidance. So we need to provide our employees with guidance on what they need to learn for their current roles and what they need to learn for their future roles. And this guidance starts with manager support, right? We need to ensure that our managers are creating developmental plans with our team. We need to give them the tools to be able to do that. We need to ensure that managers are maybe sitting and setting focus skills for development and guiding their teams. The second is learning. And learning is not just about content, right? Learning is about how people are discovering this content and how are they consuming it. And these need not be just formal learning programs. We need to account for all the learning that individuals are doing: collaborative learning, independent learning, as they are learning from articles, videos, podcasts, depending upon their preferences, depending upon when they have the time. We need to give our employees feedback and insights on how they are progressing as they're developing these habits of learning. And these can be in the form of 360-degree assessments. These can be in the form of skill ratings, informal assessments, so that individuals can get the feedback when they need it. And lastly, we need to give our people access to experiential learning opportunities so that they can apply and develop their skills. And these can be in the form of projects, stretch assignments, gigs, tasks, so that employees have a reason to update their skills data so that their skills data can benefit them. We believe that these 4 foundational elements are the key to ensuring that L&D is not just keeping pace with business needs, but really staying ahead by creating this agile skills-based strategy. And the last poll for today, I promise, I want to hear from you. How well does your employee experience today enable you to monitor your workforce skills, this dynamic data on the skills of your people? All right, let's give it 10 more seconds. Okay, let's see what everyone's saying. All right, so 15% said very well. That's amazing. Somewhat well, 51%. And then 15% said poorly, 14% not at all, and 4% I don't know. For everyone that said very well, I'm again very curious to see what are you doing very well. And please do share some tactical advice that we can all benefit from and do some peer learning. And for those who said poorly, not at all, well, you do know now the 4 foundational elements that you need to start thinking about and start building that positive employee experience. All right. To conclude, I just like to say that, again, from our another research on how the workforce learns that's just come out, we found out that businesses that do invest in building a positive employee experience are the businesses that have more agile teams, they have better performing people, they are better placed to respond to external changing situations, and they're the ones that are faster, better, smarter than their competitors, because companies that outlearn their competitors are the companies that outperform their competitors. And with that, let's open this up for questions. But if there's anything from this presentation, from whatever we discussed today, if there's anything that you need to have more discussions, more conversations around, anything that you're curious about, please feel free to drop me an email, connect with me on these forums, and I'm always happy to talk a little bit more about these topics. Lastly, you can download the full research by on this URL, the stateofskills.degree.com, or you can scan this QR code for the entire report.
Please take on the question. I think we have questions on chat tab as well as Q&A tab, if you want to take one by one.
Awesome, absolutely. There are a lot of questions, okay. Let's go to the top. Here comes the Great Resignation, why millions of employees could quit their jobs post-pandemic. Well, that's not really a question, but yes, definitely, absolutely. the Great Resignation is over here. And as we saw from the research in itself, when in the start of 2021, we identified that retention would be one of the problems for organizations that are not investing in their employees. And today we're seeing the results of that. I think there are some questions over here. Should the manager master all of those skills, all the skills? Well, whatever I said about enabling our managers to provide the right guidance, really, we need to equip our managers with the right tools, right? There's no cookie cutter kind of a solution, that we ensure that our managers have the skills. The thing is, it is important that our managers are supporting their teams. Our managers are giving them guidance, because people need to know what skills they need to develop for their current role, what skills they need to develop for their future role, and they need to understand what are their skill gaps. Because once they have that guidance, they already have the resources that you're providing, amazing feedback mechanisms in place, and then opportunities to develop holistically. Roshni is requesting that people on the positive side of the poll, please do share some more insights. I'm really keen, and I would love to hear from what some of you are doing in that respect. Do you think it's always right to judge employee on number rather than value, like EQ? This is a question from Anil. Great question, Anil. I feel like we're all a combination of all of these things, right? We're a combination of technological skills, cognitive skills, social skills. So IQ and EQ is both, I feel, HQ, human quotient, right? And it's not really about judging employees, right? That's the psychological safety that we need to bring in our teams. Rating someone, right? Telling them, or maybe self-rating, maybe manager rating us on a skill. This is not about someone judging us, right? This is about having the safety. This is about having the psychological safety to be able to reflect on your skill level, really, to understand where you are, so that you can have more guidance around where you want to go, depending upon the next role that you want to take. What is the skill level that is needed for that? So it's not about judging people on the skills that they have. We need to have that safety in our teams to be able to have these open conversations on skills, skill levels, and where they are, where people are, where do they want to go. I hope that answers that to some extent. Surprising to see virtual working skills are not in the top skills list of India. Actually, Ruben, I'm sure virtual working skills are amongst the top skills everywhere around the world, right? But I also feel like what's become important as we've gone virtual is that we're focusing a little bit more on our social and cognitive skills. We've never had to think before this about creativity in person, right? We've been ourselves, we've brought on those elements with ourselves, but virtually trying to communicate, virtually trying to be a leader, virtually trying to have feedback conversations, right? All of this is difficult. And that's the reason I think that to some extent that we have, 5 out of the top 7 skills as these social and cognitive skills that we saw. So I feel like virtual working skills are translating to some extent to these social and cognitive skills. I hope that helps. Where can we download the research paper, Caribe? This is available on stateofskills.degree.com. The entire research, including industry-wise breakdown of skills, is over there. Rana has asked recently, managerial versus leadership skills. Which one is the priority for organizations in the VUCA world, and how organizations can track that? I'm very keen to understand, Rana, what are managerial and what are leadership skills, right? In my mind, a manager is a leader, right? And a manager needs to have skills on, to some extent, leadership, right? In order to ensure that I feel psychologically safe in talking to him, and ensure that he's helping me progress. He's able to lead me to right outcomes that I'm looking to achieve in my life. So very keen to hear how you're differentiating these two.
Priti, there is one question from Ratan Rajak. The question is, the organizations growing in value and volume still in position 20 years back in pandemic, they didn't change their mindset. How to change their mindset, which is very important.
You know, this is, I think, one of the most trending questions, right? After the question, this is trending second to the question of how to make time for learning, right? How to ensure employees have time for learning. And changing their mindset. When you really look at changing your mindset, I'm assuming that you're thinking about changing your mindset towards learning, right? Ensuring that employees have the learning, the growth mindset, as everyone puts it. So tell me, why do we learn, right? All of us, why are we learning? We are learning so that we can develop skills, and we can use those skills as credentials within our organizations. We can use those skills to identify and apply and get selected for the right opportunities, the right projects, the right role, the next promotion, the next big thing in my career, right? We are all learning because we want to develop those skills, and then we need to transact on those skills so that we are moving forward in our career. So when employees will know that within your organization, if you are learning, if you have the skills, you will get the opportunities, you will grow, they will automatically learn. So it's all about ensuring that employees know that they are going to receive the opportunities, and that employees receive the opportunities that they deserve, not because of their designation, not because of their role, not because they were in the right room at the right time with the right people. It is because of their capabilities and skills that they're developing. And in my honest opinion, I feel like when you create a culture where people are getting recognized for their skills, not for their credentials, not for their degrees, not for their connections, not for their roles, but for the skills that they bring to the table, automatically that mindset will change. I hope that was helpful.
So the other question is from Ravi. Ravi is asking, what are the most important agility skills?
Well, that's a loaded question, Ravi, right? If you're thinking about agility skills, I feel like agility in itself is a skill. Embracing change, right? Being open to new experiences, being open to the fact that you will need to learn, create that learning mindset, right? So in my honest opinion, I feel like agility in itself, learning agility in itself is a skill. And the times that we are all going through today, all of us to some extent are developing that skill of being, I don't know, learning agile in some ways. I hope that answers.
Yes. I'm just looking
All
for
right. Yeah.
So I think you answered there is thinking that when attrition is high. So Arava Mudan is asking, there is a thinking that when attrition is high, why should we invest on upskilling, or should we do this selectively?
I love this question. Whoever has asked this is the question of the day, and I would like to quote Leena Nair, the CHRO of Unilever, right? Now, Unilever is again a client, and we've had the pleasure of inviting Leena to so many of our talks. And she says that upskilling is a social responsibility, right? We are all in a world today where people are losing jobs. We saw in COVID, right? Our family members, some of them, our friends, some of them, some acquaintances of ours lost their jobs. That was big. People across the world are losing their jobs, and they do not have the ability to find another job if they do not have those upskilling and reskilling opportunities. So we all within the world need to ensure that we are actually upskilling and reskilling, investing our people, because when your talent does leave and go to another organization, first, definitely they're carrying your brand, right? They're carrying the pedigree that they're coming from your organization. But at the same time, you're also receiving talent from other organizations, right? You are receiving these talented people who worked across the world in so many different locations, companies, and they are talented and they're joining your organization, really adding value, right? And we all want to work with smarter people. I have never seen someone say that, you know what, I don't want to work with someone smarter. I feel like we all want to work with smarter people, because when we work with smarter people, we become better. One of my favorite leaders within the company, she says that she always hires better than her, right? She always hires people who are smarter than her, because when she works with these people, she becomes smarter, she becomes better day by day. So we have both an individual motive, and we have both a holistic, global, social, economic motive to actually invest in people, no matter whether they stay with us or they don't stay with us.
So much for that, for answering that question. The next question is from Setu Shah, and the question is, how are organizations, business leaders deriving which skills to focus on? It is easier for employees to do this. However, do you see this happening at department business leader level?
That's a great question. And again, that's a loaded question, but that's a great question, right? How you understand which skills to focus on is so going to come from your organizational strategy, from your business strategy, right? If you are tomorrow thinking about launching to a new market, that will give you some indication of what are the skills that you need to have today. And while organizations can take this bottoms up, this tops down approach to skilling, right? While you can prescribe 10 skills for a role that is required, you also need to take a bottom up approach to skilling. You need to understand what are the skills that people are bringing to the table, and then what are the skills that managers are increasingly requiring. So yes, involving your business leaders, involving your managers to help understand what is the kind of work that is coming up. When we talk about providing opportunities, projects, gigs, assignments, we believe in democratizing this. Letting your managers define some of these opportunities, some of these project stretch assignments will also give you an indication of what are the top trending skills within the organization, what are the skills that are in demand within the company, right? So that you can then understand, listen to your business leaders and get that proverbial seat on the table, not just reacting to business requirements, but working with them side by side, understanding the trends that they are seeing, understanding the skills that they need, and then helping them be successful, not just reactively, but proactively. I hope that helps.
Thank you, Kriti. The next question is from Ruben. Ruben is asking, while virtual working work-life balance has become a core demand of talent, how is going to be different from Yahoo's experience in the past of rolling back flexi work from home due to productivity effectiveness loss?
That's a very loaded question again. Yeah. So rolling back flexi work. So what I'm understanding from this question right now is somewhere or the other, Ruben, you have this notion that, or maybe there is this notion, it's not you, there's this notion that flexi work is either causing productivity loss, is that right? Or work from home is causing productivity loss? I think either way, whatever you do, whatever the notion is, right? Let's say whatever the notion is, I think we are already seeing that organizations, and I think Goldman Sachs comes in mind when I say this, they're increasingly providing job perks, increasingly hiking pays for their analysts, right? Expecting that more money, more pay, these perks are going to ensure that these people stay with them. They're able to retain talent. But again, what employees want is that the organization values them. They want autonomy at work, right? And they want flexibility at work. These are the components that I think, and this is the reason, right? We need to create that employee experience that's focused on the learner. It's important to ensure that we're going away from administrative top-down kind of like thinking to a learner-centric thinking. If an employee needs autonomy, flexibility at work, then I think we need to consider that along with job perks and pays, right? That is important as well. But yeah, that's what I would say.
The next question is from Indu, and it's a long question, so I'll just share it over the chat so that you can get a good grasp of it.
So Indu says, I'm from the IT industry. How well are organizations able to put the tech learning bonds to new employees without it boomeranging? Identifying from older employees are much easier as their loyalties are tested. New employees need to see this learning happening for them too. However, with the attrition in this industry, how would you suggest we make technical upskilling profitable for the organization? Again, great question, Indu, looking at how, and I think this is a notion, right? Millennials are job hopping. Millennials are leaving organizations increasingly. I think this is also one of the questions that someone else had asked me the other day in a meeting. And it's okay if people are job hopping, right? It's okay if people are leaving. But if you really want to retain them, if you want to ensure that your upskilling within these people is profitable, You need to ensure that your employees understand that they have opportunities to grow within the business. We leave an organization when we feel like we cannot grow within that company, right? We feel like we do not have the opportunities to find the right career experiences that we are looking for. So while you're focusing on upskilling and on putting together these programs, I think one more thing that you need to ensure that it is communicated is that people who are upskilling, people who are learning, new or old, everyone, whoever is learning, are getting the opportunities. They will be selected for the right projects. They will be put on the aspirational projects that everyone in the company is vouching for. Because if you keep on redeploying older employees whose loyalties are tested, we are no longer looking at skills of the people, right? We are again letting their designations, their roles, their connections define where they are going within the company. And hence, I feel like giving the right opportunities to people is important.
So the next question is from D. Ellen Reddy. And the question is, what is the shelf life for any skill? How often redesign of skills needs to be updated?
I think the shelf life of skills is increasingly changing, right? I don't think anyone can answer this because it depends on a host of changes that are coming, and we're all innovating, we're all moving forward, we're all bringing in new technology. So these skills could become shorter, could become longer. On an average, what I feel is that technological skills have a shorter shelf life. Human skills have a longer shelf life. In general, they stay with us, like I was mentioning in the presentation. But when it really comes to redesigning, right, of the skills, we need to start thinking and we need to start considering what people are saying within the business, right? What are people looking for? What are people searching for as they're looking for content within your system? What skills are people developing? What are the hot popular skills that people are looking for from within your current systems? Because once you look at what people are wanting to learn, these are going to give you significant indicators to designing your upskilling strategy, because you want to ensure that you have the right experiences in place for people to find them within your systems, to learn. I hope that answers. Again, basically coming back to the approach of, really like anticipating, understanding what skills are there, understanding what people are looking for, and then managing that supply and demand of skills within the business.
Yes, thank you for adding to that as well. So I think this will be our last question. We have a lot of questions, but I think we will take this one as last question. Setu Shah is asking, how do organizations weave objective upskilling / reskilling in their culture? Keyword is objective.
I think that's a great question again. And I feel like what's objective is also depending upon how we are defining it, right? If we are looking at course completions, if we are looking at hours spent on learning, if we are looking at happy sheets, survey sheets, right, to measure measure our learning programs objectively, then that's the result that we're going to get, right? We are going to get employees who drag themselves out of their day-to-day work, invest 8 hours in an ILT program and learn nothing and go back. But when we are looking at skill developments, right, when we are looking at skill shifts as OKRs, when we are looking at how people are learning from all of these content providers that you've invested in, when we are looking at how people are collaborating with each other, how are they sharing content with each other, what are the skills that they are developing, what are the capabilities that the business has acquired, when you are measuring these outcomes from your learning programs, I feel like that's the time that we can have an objective upskilling and reskilling program in place. I hope that helps.
So I have got one more, but that's not a question, that's more of a comment. And Sachin is saying, great insights, really appreciate the overall presentation insights and the Q&A session. Lots to take, a lot of takeaways. So these are things
Thank you so much.
So I thought I'll not only share questions, but also what people are saying, because some of them are also saying that they won't go and download the report as well. So Kirti, do you mind sharing the link of the report? You have mentioned it, but it will be great if you can share it.
I'll just put it over here for everyone.
Q&A if you can add. Okay, stateofskills.degree.com. And on that note, I think Thank you so much for your insightful thoughts and sharing a lot of data points as well that really added value to the presentation. And when you asked all these questions over the your presentation, that also you have also I think you have also got a lot of good responses. So, and thanks to the audience for coming and sharing your thoughts and asking questions to Kriti. Sometimes it's difficult to address all the questions, but I think she has tried and she has answered almost all the questions, even on chat and Q&A. So thank you so much, everyone. Thanks a lot for joining in and sharing your thoughts. It was wonderful hosting you, Kriti. And thank you, audience. And thanks a lot.